Hello, my friend. So, as promised, I'm about to share with you a little mini training on my launch overview. Now, I do a 4-week flowy launch overview, and I am actively working on this launch board so the members inside CEO Suite can have it and use it. But for my email community, you guys have access to this training as like a little added, hey, guess what? I want to show you how you can actually take the stress out of launching, even if you do decide that CEO Suite isn't going to be the thing that helps you to learn how to launch. I at least want to give you enough information so you can actually get your stuff out there. What's more important to me than the money is that my community is actually actively making money through educating themselves or through like selling something or making an offer or collaborating. And there's honestly so many different ways to make money online. But what I'm about to show you here is going to be so helpful if you sell a product or a service. And of course, if you are just an influencer or like a blogger, this can still be applicable to you when you decide to launch your own service or your own product. So, overview, there are several phases of the launch. In this video, we're just going to go over really one of them, but there is the pre-launch. This is like the planning phase, the pre-launch, which is where you're getting your audience excited about what's coming, and the actual launch itself, which is where you are putting it out there, you're generating sales, you know how to generate sales because you've done all of the work that you need to do inside the pre-launch, which you can see is outlined right here. And then of course there's like the post-launch phase. And the post-launch is like all the stuff that happens after it. So if you're new to launching is not an announcement, it's a marketing campaign, but most people treat launching like it's just an announcement, meaning you decide one day, you wake up and you're like, I'm going to launch something, and then you go on Instagram and you're like, my website's up, or you secretly spend all this time behind the scenes putting together the perfect program, putting together something that you think is really, really cool, and keeping it a secret because you think that's what you need to do, and then you make the announcement and you're like, you can buy right now, and no one buys. That's because you're launching wrong. And a majority of the entrepreneurs out there without this type of guidance, without understanding the psychology of launching, they only see the other end of it, which is like they follow this person online. They see that one day all of a sudden they start announcing something, and then they see them celebrating like the 10K, 20K, 50K launch. And so they try and replicate it, and they do the same thing they saw on the outside looking in, and their launch flops. Well, this is why. So let's go over that briefly. Okay, so that's my launch strategy, is going through the pre-launch, the pre-launch, the launch, and the post-launch. Pre-launch, pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. I think I said 5 steps, but there's 4. There's only 4 steps. So the pre-launch is where you are solidifying your offer and you're setting your goals. You can see that here. I'm not going to share the whole thing with you because, of course, CEO Suite is for my high-level thinkers, and I want to reward them for making that investment inside this membership. And if you just want to get started, just please know you're going to have to create a pre-launch plan, which is where you are launching your messaging, you're launching growth content. This is content that's going to grow your audience and grow your email list. And inside the C-suite, I teach you all the different ways to do that. And then there's also the nurture content. So this is content where you're literally saying to your audience, I know you're struggling with this, or I know you have concerns about this. Here's a little pro marketing tip. Not everyone wants to identify with a struggle. So for CEO Suite, I'm not telling my entrepreneurs, if you struggle with low sales, I'm not saying that, because I want the people that come into the C-suite to feel empowered. So right away, I'm saying, if one of your concerns is that you're leaving money on the table because you don't have the strategy, you know you don't have the strategy and you need it, and you want to collaborate with other CEOs and you want to level up, then get inside CEO Suite, where now it's like I understand that and I can give them something positive to associate with joining. That's just a little pro tip. Okay, getting off tangent. So let's go back to that. You have your growth content and you have your nurture content, and then you have your sales content. Now, your sales content is where you're directly asking for the sale. And you might have sales content in your growth section. You might be creating like a viral Instagram reel, TikTok, and the intention is to grow your audience with something that's highly relatable. Well, imagine if you have a CTA that says, hey, after you attach your growth content, if you're looking to XYZ, I can't wait to help you XYZ inside this thing or with this product. So you can attach your growth and your nurture content and your sales content to different phases. We just went over those four. The the pre-launch, launch are really the only two that you're going to be using this in, because this is your content now. And then, of course, I have some guidelines in here for your pre-launch phase. Go ahead, if you already know how to do this, and prep 2 weeks of that growth content, the content that's going to intentionally help your audience to grow. This is going to help your numbers grow. This is where, well, I'm not going to go over that right now. That's a whole different topic for a whole different day, which on July 12th, we will be launching together, meaning we're going through this entire board, and you are going to understand what you need to do in your business. It's based off your unique business model, no matter if you've launched a million times before or this is your first time launching. It's so unique to you. And it doesn't matter if you're super, super beginner or super, super been here for a while. And that's what you see here in these specific days, is you have a checklist of actions to do for every single day. So if you can prep your growth content, go ahead and prep your nurture content, and go ahead and prep your sales content in your pre-launch phase, you're going to be able to set yourself up for success when you know how to do these specific things. And just a reminder that in the pre-launch phase, you're just overview planning. You're like planning the party. You're like, who would be great for the party? Who should I invite? What type of decorations should I get? And then in your pre-launch phase, you're like, okay, this type of decorations will work really well with my audience. That's maybe like your messaging. And you might be saying, this is the party theme that my audience is going to want to attend the party with. So I didn't get into that, but launching with a specific theme is how people keep the focus streamlined. So themes and content buckets and content fillers, if you don't know what I mean, you can either hop on board into the C-suite, or you can take a look at my Casual Capture Copywriting e-course that you might actually already have. You just have to log in and go through that again. But in this video, by now, you should understand the 4 different phases of launching. You see my super flowy, easy launch overview. I'm focused on the pre-launch. I'm planning. I'm focused on the pre-launch. Oop, I put this here twice. On the pre-launch, sorry if that was confusing for you, there are 2 different phases. There are 4 different phases: pre-launch, pre-launch. And so it's like we're getting ready for the party. In the pre-launch, we are saying, hey, this stuff is like, we're buying the balloons, we're putting the messaging out there, we've put the invites out there, we launched maybe something like a free offer to warm people up for the party. The party happens when the doors open for the actual launch. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes launching so much more clear and so much more easy, because you can't skip 1 and 2 and just go to launching. That's how you launch to crickets. That's how no one buys your stuff, because you didn't spend enough time planning it or doing the market research in the pre-launch or the pre-launch phase, and you didn't validate it in the pre-launch phase. You didn't launch a free resource. You didn't track your numbers. You didn't tweak your messaging. You didn't do anything. You are just continuously pushing the same messaging the same way, and it might not be working for you, and that's why. So maybe it's time to go back to the drawing board if that's you. And if you've never done this before, make sure you spend enough time in your pre-launch phase where you can create enough certainty for yourself that when it's time to launch, there's a whole list of things that have to go into your launch too. But once you get there, you're really only focused on like 1 to 2 things, which I teach you inside the C-suite, and those are like your money generating activities. And that's why it's important for you to plan out your launch as much as possible in the pre-launch and maybe even the pre-launch. So this looks like emails, captions, branding, all of those things. Okay, I hope this was super helpful for you. And of course, I would love to see you inside the C-suite. You can access that right here on this page, or if you're watching this somewhere else, you can go to planfor6figures.com/C-suite. That's just the letter C and then SUITE. The magic is in you. You are your best resource. Until next time, keep shining your light. And if you found this video training helpful, tag me on Instagram at Jodi-Kay. I'd love to celebrate you. I'd love to celebrate you learning and hype you up. And of course, repost you on my platform to my audience, so my audience can see how cool you are and just like learn a little bit more about you and what you got going on. Hopefully this is like really great for you to get started on your launch process. And if you already have an offer, you already have some idea of what you want your messaging to be, let's get you inside the C-suite so you can launch with us live on July 12th and actually generate sales for this launch with a super simplified strategy. I'll talk to you soon.